So the UFC just announced some fights for UFC 326. They also finally finished the UFC honor voting for knockout submission, comeback debut, and event of the year, and all the nominees for this year. Also, there is some updates for Ilia Topuria and his wife Georgina, the divorce between the two. And then finally, Bilal Muhammad, a little bit of a disaster between Bilal Muhammad and Islam Makhachev, possibly. And then Dricus du Plessis' possibly next return to the UFC Octagon. I'm going to break down all these things, but let's start first with these new fight announcements for UFC 323, and it's looking stacked, dude. UFC 323, so the way it is right now is 324 stacked, 325 Volk's possible retirement if Lopez gets it done, awful, and then 326 is stacked again. Of course, that's main eventing Holloway Oliveira. So, I don't know if they've announced a co-main with these. I think the co-main is... Yeah, I think this co-main is Baralho de Ritter is the co-main. Which is strange because a lot of people were matching up Adesanya with Baralho. But now it's Baralho de Ritter. I'm probably going to go with de Ritter. I think taking some time off is going to be good for him. Baralho just didn't look the best against a Mavov. And I know it's a Mavov, but I think de Ritter he's kind of do the same thing with that he did with Whitaker. Whitaker's shorter though, and he's not as rangier. So maybe Baralho, if he does get that, and then maybe he'll hit the shot that Whitaker hit on de Ritter. But I think Whitaker can probably do this done with the pressure, with the grappling, be dangerous. Maybe he'll learn from the Brendan Allen thing not to try and force the grappling too much if it isn't working for him well, and just always end up on bottom. But I think this is a Baralho. I'm not scared to finish him. De Ritter's, I mean, he's like what 20 something and 2, and he's only been like TKO finished technically, not even really. He just gasses out. But he's never been knocked out. I don't think Baralho is going to be the guy to do it. He may gas him out though. That could be the thing. But right now, early prediction, I'm going to go with de Ritter for this Baralho fight. But it could be either way. The thing is, who do you give Adesanya? Can y'all see that? Who do y'all give Adesanya? I don't know who you would give Adesanya. As you can see, he's number 6, so they're doing 7 and 8. You can't really do Whitaker. You can't do Cannonier. You could do... Basically, the only person right now is MVP Adesanya. Maybe Adesanya Delidze. If he wants a free, easy win, Adesanya Delidze. Adesanya Rodriguez. Adesanya Piper. I don't know. Some of these are risky for him, though, so I don't know what he's going to do. I would probably guess they're going to do MVP because it's kind of like a big name matchup, fun matchup. And I'm sure, but Adesanya is like friends with MVP. So they may not do that. They may do like an Adesanya Roman Dolidze because that's an easy win for him. Or he may just see what happens between Hernandez and Strickland, and if Strickland loses, he'll try and get the Strickland fight back. If Strickland wins, then he'll go for like a Dolidze. I don't know. I don't know. He's been very inactive. It'll be like a year as soon as this fight happens that he's last fought. So, but anyways, so you have Baralho de Ritter, then you have Money Moicano, Brian Ortega too, at lightweight. It's a decent fight. It was a fun first fight. You know, Moicano's piecing up Ortega, put his head in a guillotine, tapped out. I'm probably gonna go with Moicano in this one. I don't know. They both looked pretty awful in their last outing, if I'm being honest. But Ortega looked especially awful, and Moicano, like, just lost to Dariush. Like, Ortega just got beat up by Sterling. Moicano, at least, you know, lost to 29-20, 28. And then knocked down Dariush in the first, which obviously we've learned since then is not impressive. You know, he should have put him away. But, you know, dude, you know how cool it would have been if Moicano knocked out Dariush in round 1 at 317? Oh my goodness. That would have been sick. But yeah, so Moicano Ortega too. Pretty fun fight. The thing with these BMF cards is that the fights, I figured out, we're just here to have fun for these BMF cards. There's no title on. It's a little bit looser. It's gonna be more fun. All right, I want fun matchups for for UFC 320. When there's a BMF title on the line for the main event, I want fun matchups. This is a fun matchup right here, because it's like, who cares? It's Moicano. Like, this is what Moicano gets because he said no to the lawsuit thing. Like, he didn't accept the money from the lawsuit thing. This is why he's getting this off of a two loss streak technically. But yeah, so that's a pretty fun fight. Then you have Costa Ferreira. Why is Costa fighting down? He just beat Kopylov. Now he has to defend his ranking again? They hate Costa, dude. Adesanya may wait for the winner of this, because I could see him. First of all, I'm going with Costa Ferreira. Maybe it was just his weight miss, but he looked awful against Vettori. Vettori almost beat him. I think Costa's a lot more powerful, a lot slicker, can throw something crazy body kicks, quick body kicks, a lot more dynamic. You're not gonna know really what you're gonna get hit with for Costa. So I think he will beat Ferreira. Ferreira just didn't look that good against Vettori. Maybe, like I said, it may be due to that missing weight. I don't know if missing weight is gonna make you look that bad against Vettori, dude. It's Vettori. You should have sparked him out cold. Even though he has like the best chin ever, you should have sparked him out cold. He was standing there like a body bag, ready to be put away. And then finally, Cody Garbrandt, Zhao Long. I'm probably gonna go with Garbrandt, dude. I'm probably gonna go with Garbrandt. This is a fun fight. It's a fun fight. Cody Garbrandt, Zhao Long. He's fought like 3 Asian dudes in a row or something. I don't know. So this is his first like real test, if I'm being honest. But Cody Garbrandt, I think he'll be a little too quick for him. I don't know. He's getting up there, so this is where even in these unranked areas you gotta be careful picking Garbrandt because he's getting up there in age, and you don't know how committed to the game he is. But I think he'll be fine. I think he'll do good enough against Zhao Long or Long Zhao or however you say his name. Luckily, it's only 2 instead of 3 names. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Garbrandt for that. Moving on. All right. So I wanted to go over the UFC honors for 2025 and do my personal. So first of all, let's get this out of the way. The events chosen: 320, banger. 322, main and co-main stunk it up, but banger. 317, banger. 319 is the last event, not 322, generational card. Crazy. 319 should not be on here. I know they had the Murphy and Prates spinning elbow KO, which is sick, but 323 like was constantly better. You had the Ewo fight. You had the Duncan McKinney fight. You had the Dawson Torres fight. You had the Yan Moran fight. You had the Cejudo Talbot fight. A lot better fights. Crud. A lot better fights. So I don't know why you would do that. But for my personal picks for this year, all right, I'm gonna go with for knockout. This is a tough one. See, for knockouts, I think it's how high a level it is, right? How like impressive it was to do it. Like if they were losing, they clipped them at the end. That's impressive, but I like something that's like you can tell is set up, that they have that in May. They have that in mind. They have that planned out. They're doing that on purpose. And I like something that's spectacular. So I'm gonna give for all these. I'm gonna give my winner and then honorable mention. The winner. The winner's probably gonna be Topuria Oliveira. I mean, how can you not have that? Is like you've never seen Oliveira like that. Never. In his whole career, you have never seen Oliveira like that, getting knocked out by his knee. Okay. Honorable mention, I'll say Smith because Kazuma. I don't know how to say that. Sick powerbomb slam KO. Amazing. I wanted to choose this for the hardcores. No, just because it was a sick KO. But, you know, it was on like a prelims of, what was that? Was that in Atlanta? Was that Buckley Usman? I think that was Buckley Usman. I think that was on Buckley Usman. So yeah, that's my honorable mention. Murphy Pico was good and Rufy Green were really good, but I don't know. Topuria Oliveira is just something different. It's just something different. All right, up next, submission. So the submissions: O'Malley, Marab 2, Silva Mitchell, awful submission. Pena, Harrison Pena, Makashev Moicano. I'm gonna say, boom. I'm just gonna get out of the way. Harrison Pena was actually impressive, dude. It's actually impressive. You know, no one's really taken out Pena with ease. You know, especially on the ground. The Venezuela vixen, no one takes her out that. Who does that? Who does that? Who does that? But honestly, yeah, it was impressive. I think. Then Kayla Harrison showed levels. You know, women's bantamweight division, showed levels, took her down, ragdolled her, ripped her arm off like a man, like the man she is. Best man won that night. Honorable mention, I'll probably go with O'Malley, Davalishvili 2, just of how shocking it was that Marab is the first person to ever submit O'Malley. First person to ever submit O'Malley. Hasn't had a finish in like years, 15 years or whatever, I forgot. Hadn't had a submission in years. It was intense. It was amazing. I hated it, but it was impressive. It was very impressive. So that's my honorable mention. That's the honorable mention. Mitchell Silva was awful. You know, I think Bryce was never out. He never tapped. Never tapped. And Makashev Moicano. I mean, tell that to Brian Ortega. I mean, I'm saying who doesn't submit Moicano? I'm sorry, Moicano. I like you, but let's be honest. That's not impressive. So they messed up on week 2, but I'm gonna do with comeback. So comeback Yuri Roundtree Jr., Almeida, Razak Hassan, Brundage Marquez, or Ben and Tomar. I mean, I'm not even gonna try and do a drum roll thing. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be, the man to say it. It's Yuri Roundtree. All right, nothing better. He comes back in the third, puts him away like a beast. It was just insane, very insane. Yuri looked awful that fight. He did look awful, but I think, I think the fact that he looked so awful and he still knocked out Roundtree kind of adds to it. He looked awful. He looked disgusting, honestly, and he still, just with grit and determination and pressure and just power, he breaks Roundtree in the round 3, slumps him out cold, face first, palms up, on the canvas. Broke his nose from the face plant, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. Nasty KO to end it on top of that. Comeback. So I'm going to say that. And honorable mention, I'm going to say Ban Tomar. Alright, I'm going a little crazy today. I'm going to say Ban Tomar. Alright? Ban Tomar was kind of crazy. So Tomar hit Bannon with a head kick, and she was out cold on the feet, sleeping on the feet, out cold. She wakes up with Tomar, bam, bam, and then just latches up an armbar from bottom, and then wins round 1. So also a women's fight, so it's kind of impressive. Some women just give up. And she didn't give up, She just was like, oh, I'm awake and there's this arm in front of me. Armbar it is. Ripped her arm off. Intense, insane, amazing. Okay? So, next up, debut of the year. So we have Gutierrez Medina. Quillen Sell killed Angel Jubilee, Malcolm Womaker, Cameron Simon, Mesquita Alviza. Mesquita actually was a pretty good debut, but I'm going to have to say the debut of the year for terms of still having hype is going to have to be Salkill Jubilee. Alright, Salkill Jubilee, he puts out, first of all, who does that to Jubilee? Walks right through him like a pro. And also, that debut of the year led to what? him beating, I forgot the guy who he took to a decision, and then he head kick KOs Nazarek Haqparast in round one, which was a very impressive. Nazarek Haqparast gives a lot of people problems. A lot of people problems, like Nathaniel Wood, Muhammad Naimov. I think they fought. I forgot. A lot of people problems. Nazarek Haqparast, Esteban Ribovics gives a lot of people problems, dude. A lot of people problems. Salkill dealt with him in round one. I think debut, you have to kind of factor in how well they've been doing now. Gutierrez done nothing. Simon, Wellmaker's my honorable mention. You know, if he beat Ethan Ewing, then he'd probably be the guy. But he lost to Ethan Ewing. And like I said, if you watch my recap for that, he seems very emotional when fighting, dude. Very emotional. If he doesn't get what he wants, if he doesn't get that picture perfect right hook, he gets upset. He starts overthrowing. He starts rushing in without a plan, like an idiot, and loses like he did to Ethan Ewing. So yeah, Salkill Jubilee, it's got to be debut of the year. You know, honorable mention, Wellmaker Simon. Finally, event of the year: UFC 320, UFC 322, UFC 317, and then UFC 319. It's actually pretty tough. I'm between two events that had really fun main events. And then it's crazy that these people, beard and no mustache, just happen to have really boring main events somehow. No reason. No reason, just these beardless mustache. And I know I'm one of them right now. You know, beardless, mustacheless people. I am one of them right now. Boring main events. So, I'm going to go with UFC 320. Just because you had the Pereira shock. Because everyone kind of expected Topuria to put out Oliveira like that. Not like that, not as devastating as that. But it was kind of like, oh. And then like the Pantoja Kai France was fun. And the Joshua Van, Brandon Royval was fun. But this had Pereira, Ankalaev too, where he knocked him out in 60 seconds or 80 seconds or 90 seconds flat. And he's back on the top of the world. You know, everyone counted him out. Now he's back on the top of the world. Then he had Merab almost finishing Sandhagen in the third or fourth or whatever, almost TKOing him. Then you had Roundtree, Prohaska, crazy comeback. Then you had Zalal Emmett, where he just armbarred him instantly as soon as they met. And then you had Piper, I think that was Piper Abbas. Yeah, Piper Abbas Magomedov sleeps him and then submits him. Just insane. I think the prelims on 320 were a little bit better than 317. My honorable mention is going to be, actually the real one is 323, but from here 320. But my event of the year is 323. You know, the only thing that was bad about that was the co-main. But yeah, so that's my UFC honors. All right, want to go through that now. Now that we had some fun matchmaking stuff, now it's time to get, actually, I'll save the Ilia Topuria wife thing last, alright? Bilal Muhammad is coming in, saying some stuff, so I wanted to show this. Bilal Muhammad believes Islam Makhachev and his managers are planting the seed for an easier matchup against Kamaru Usman. Michael Morales for sure has earned it. We see Islam planting the seeds of Usman being the next guy. Obviously, they have the same manager. It's almost as if someone made a very good video about that manager who predicted this a couple months ago. Do I think Usman is easier match for him? Of course, the guy's fought one time in 3 years and he's 1-3 in his last 4. That's a catchphrase I used. And of course, my Kamaru Usman You Are Delusional video. Also go watch that. I'm still ahead of you, even though I've lost my last 2 fights. I'm still 2-2, which is true. Kamaru Usman should be nowhere near the talks of getting a title shot. Nowhere near. Should not get a title shot. Should not. No world, no how, no way, no how should he get a title shot over Ian Gary, over Michael Morales, over Carlos Prates, over a JDM rematch. I'd take a JDM rematch over a Kamaru Usman title shot, okay? But this is strange, dude. Bilal's kind of saying if he does get Kamaru Usman, he's taking the easy way out. And I can see this. Need to pause this. That
Michael Morales
ugly
for
mug.
sure has earned it.
This Bilal is actually pretty cool, so I don't mind him. It was, oh my goodness, jump scare. Sorry, sorry, that was awful. I did not mean to. I should have put a graphic warning or something. I am sorry. I'm very sorry. Uh, but yeah, Bilal's kind of saying, dude, if Islam's taking this Usman fight, he's a wimp. He's scared. That's what he's saying, dude. Because everyone knows Islam has one or two fights left. That's just how it is. Islam has one or two fights left. Uh, does this one more fight. He's the GOAT. He does one more fight. Just do that. He's cements his legacy even more. And even though it's going to be lame, having Kamaru Usman on his resume is going to be insane. You go, dude, Islam Makhachev's resume is insane. All of Prime Oliveira, Prime Volk, Dustin, old man Dustin, but they don't want to say that. Volk twice too. Dustin, Moicano, Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, uh, Usman, JDM. What the heck, dude? This guy, best resume of all time. And it probably would be. It probably will be. But I don't want to see him, Usman, get a title shot undeservingly. Fight one more time, Usman. If you want a title shot so bad, do what all these other fighters are doing and fight for it. Isn't that crazy? You can fight in the sport of combat and get a chance to fight for the title, which you're whining about on your podcast with Henry Cejudo. Why don't you retire like Cejudo, dude? Come on. Say a little bit of trouble in paradise for possibly Bilal and Islam, you know? Love to see a match between those two. My boy Bilal would take out Islam, dude. He'd show him levels. He would just show him levels in the grappling, if I'm being honest. So yeah, there's that. Then Dricus du Plessis is in talks about the current state of middleweight division. Says he wants to return in March, April. Right now, you don't have anyone who's consistently winning. That's the problem. How do you pick contender? Consistency isn't there. So to the UFC, first quarter of the next year would be good. End of March, beginning of April, perfect. So we've all heard du Plessis, Brendan Allen is probably in the works. It's probably in the works, but he's kind of playing a little coy, I think, here, just to keep it open in case he does. Because he could do like I don't know if DeRidder's going to want to keep that same activity, though. That's the thing. But he could do like a Matt Barajo or a Durain or winner, because they may get ranked up higher than Brendan Allen. But if DeRidder wins, they probably won't put him above Allen. They probably just wouldn't. But if Barajo wins, they'll probably put him above Allen. I don't know. Anyways, but this is just me giving like a possible time. March, April for 2026, we could see du Plessis, Allen. I'd take du Plessis because du Plessis is just that. He's just him, dude. He keeps on pushing no matter what. He won't give up like DeRidder did. Okay? But yeah, that's that. And finally, last little topic today. I want to go over some new alleged details of the Ilia Topuria Georgina Ukadaski divorce situation per this place and this place. So both of those accounts seem legit, dude. So let's do it. So they both have a prenuptial agreement, which means, this before they got married, they go, all right, this is my stuff, this is my stuff, this is my stuff, if this is your stuff. And when you get split, it's gonna stay. This is my stuff, this is your stuff. All right, that's just how it is. So they have that signed. They have that. So it's not gonna be trouble like splitting up and finding out who owns what or whatever. They've already decided who owns what. Okay. Georgina. Okay. I love saying that for some reason, dude. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Georgina currently resides in her family home with their daughter, as she currently has no other residences in Spain, as her family network is located in the USA and Venezuela. So she's out of she has no contact. She's kind of out alone in Spain right now. No family. That's not gonna look good in the court case, dude. That's just not gonna look good. But yeah. Yeah. So she's living with their daughter. I'm guessing in like a hotel or like an Airbnb or an apartment that she's renting right now, or a home that she's renting, just to get away from Topuria. But Topuria's life has been recorded 24/7 for the last 2.5 years due to a documentary being filmed about him, and he says he has recordings that prove he is innocent from the abuse allegations. I mean, this is either the golden goose or the silver bullet for Topuria right now. This either proves this is his make or break evidence right here. It really is. He happens to have 24/7 documentary, office style documentary on him because they were doing a documentary for him. Crazy. So he's just been recorded 24/7. That's why in his official statement, his first statement that I made a couple weeks ago, he said he has recorded evidence. I was like, that's strange. So he knew this was coming, but no. He just happened to have recorded evidence because he happened to be happened to be being filmed for a documentary about his life. Insane, insane. 2 years is crazy. So that was before anything, huh? Was that before the Volk fight? That must have been right before the Volk fight. Was 2.5 years ago, if I had to guess. Um, you know what? Let's type it. Google Ilia Topuria Alexander Volkanovski. First fight date. February 2024. 2.5 years ago would not be that, huh? What would be... Sorry, I'm doing some on-the-fly research. I'm sorry, but you're gonna be stuck with me for a little bit. Just for a little bit. 2.5 years ago, where would that be? 2.5 years? The Emmett? Yeah, so right before the Volk fight, like I thought. Right before the Volk fight or right after the Mitchell fight. Probably right after the Emmett fight was when they started recording him, which is crazy. Crazy. Also, by the way, what a steal from that from that documentary. You know what I'm saying? Right before the Volk fight, they're like, dude, this guy's gonna go places, and they get him. You know, I think he was the underdog for the Volk fight. Pretty sure he was the under. I didn't watch it MMA at that time live. I think he was the underdog for the Volk fight, which is crazy. So that, dude, props to that documentary team. They landed big, dude. They caught a big fish. Anyways, off topic. I'm sorry. But Ilia and Georgina have been in process of the divorce for months. We've known this. Two sides cannot reach an agreement on economic terms at this stage. Ilia Topuria asked for more and more money, did not want to give in to blackmail. Like he said, she's basically saying, hey, so the way it's been presented to us is that the abuse allegations were already out there. She's saying, I won't pursue these, I won't push these charges if you give me money. So she's saying, if you give me money, then I won't say that push these charges that you did abuse me. Is basically how it is. So it's not because she didn't pay her money, then she said that she was abused. She said she was abused, but she's either letting it be swept under the rug for money, or is gonna push it if she doesn't get the money she wants. A source from his environment maintains that there is no extortion, but that they are agreeing on a normal divorce in which, as in many others, they try to reach economic agreements without that it means extortion. What? I don't know. That was maybe I'm just an idiot, but can you decipher that? In his environment maintains there's no extortion, but that they are agreeing on a normal divorce in which, as many others, they try to reach economic agreements. Without that, it means extortion. I don't know. I guess he's saying that they're trying to reach mutual payment maybe for each other. Like, because I'm guessing they bought the house together or something maybe. And now they're having trouble, like, well, we got to sell this. How much do you get? How much? You contributed this much, I contributed this much, but the economy's different now, and blah, 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 blah. Maybe. And so it's not extortion because of that. I don't know. Ilia and Georgina have visitation rights to another child of Ilia's from a previous relationship. Whoa. So he's been divorced before, and he has a child with another woman before. Not looking good for Ilia again. Being divorced already shows he cannot keep a relationship. Uh-oh, he may be gone. Georgina's legal representative has said that she will not be making any more public statements. So, it's not looking good. I'm being honest. Not looking good. Besides the recording for the documentary that Ilia has. But in terms of Ilia coming back, not looking good, dude. Not looking good. Because it may be hard to get those tapes for that documentary team. It may just be hard to get those tapes. I don't know how. Because some, they may not want to get into it. They may, I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Ilia was also talking about, like, he said, listen, I'm about to go to boxing in like a year or two or something. Like he said he's going to go to boxing soon. He's probably going to do two more too. Just like I said for Islam. He's probably going to do two more, then call it. So yeah. That's a little update on that. That's a little update on that situation. But yeah. So that's what I want to go over today. Little recap. Ilia's situation. Du Plessis coming back in March, April. Bilal. Trouble in Wonderland for Team Bilal and Team Islam, dude. They're breaking up? Oh. Islam and Bilal break up? What the heck? My personal UFC honors. And then the matchups for UFC 326. All four matchups. Barão de Ritter, Moicano Ortega 2, Costa Ferreira, and Garbrandt Zhao. That's a little recap for today. Trying to make more videos to make up for my little absence there. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. If any of you made it to these last couple minutes, because no one does, don't be funny, make some money. Buy the numbers. Peace.